Look at this from Linda this morning in the text. We sold our 3-bedroom semi in Bucks on the first day. It went for £20,000 more than I expected. The reason, great high school just around the corner. We'll hear from Linda actually in just the next few minutes. It would be really, really interesting to hear from you today. Here we are talking about house prices falling, and we'll hear from lots of you who have had to take well below the asking price. Interesting actually, if you've had to take hundreds of thousands below an asking price or massive percentages below an asking price, like to hear from you. And indeed, even in this tight market, if you've got over the asking price, like to hear from you too. 0500 909 693. Let's get the latest news. Here's Justine at 10:33.
Online at bbc.co.uk/5live.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Have you bought a house? You look at.
I have actually.
I was going to say you look.
I'm too young to own a house.
Yeah.
I do. I have a flat, an apartment.
And did you buy in the how old are you?
26.
So did you buy round about the peak?
I bought just after the peak. I think paid something
2006, 7, round about that time.
2005.
All right.
So was that post peak?
That was pre-peak.
Pre-peak.
The peak is round about mid 2006.
Right. I dread to think what mine's worth.
Yeah.
To be honest, mine's in Manchester, so I'm hoping that maybe when you move up there, Stephen, you can...
House prices will go down even further. All right, let's get a sense across the country. Thank you, Will, this morning. Linda's in Northampton, William in Bristol, Carl in Derby, Danny in Wiltshire. We can all talk to each other. Linda, you can start. Morning to you.
Hello, good morning, Stephen.
What's it like where you are?
Well, I've recently just moved from Milton Keynes, and just a couple of months ago. And when the prices were at the peak a couple of years ago, I had a valuation because we were going to sell. And they said about 170 would realise for a 3-bed semi. So later on, we put our house up for sale just at Christmas this year. And I was staggered when they came round and valued it at 188,000. I thought there's absolutely no way they're going to get this. And unbelievably, the next day, 3 lots of buyers came round. Every one of them instantly said they'd pay the asking price.
So you're this lady that sent us the text earlier, 20 grand more than the asking price?
No, 20 than what we expected.
That's fantastic, Linda.
Well, it was. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I mean, we had a nice house, but realistically, we thought we'd be lucky to get 170,000. So to get 188,000 was staggering.
Yeah.
And the estate agent said there was such a good school in our area that there was very few houses for sale. Basically, they're sort of artificially inflated.
We should actually get under the skin of some of these headlines today. Yes, the top line headline that you're going to hear throughout the day today is that house prices have fallen this month for the first time in a year. But the prediction is that will leave prices slightly up or flat on 2009. So if you bought your house last year, no need to panic. There's not a massive drop. We're talking about a 2 or 3% drop for the second half of this year. William in Bristol, you're in your 30s. Can you afford to buy?
Not at the moment. Prices in Bristol are crazy. They're kind of above 2007 prices, which kind of is very frustrating for me. I'm a first-time buyer. I'm living with my wife. We live in a fairly modest 2-bed flat. There's no garden. We're thinking of having a family, but our landlord's just put it on the market for £250,000, which is far, far above what we could afford.
And William, how much would prices need to come down by in terms of percentages?
It's kind of...
For you to feel that they are then realistic?
I've been kind of priced out for years and years and years, so it's almost become it's become a really distant peak, the thought of being able to buy a house. I guess 40%, 30% to feel that a house with a small garden would be in our reach. It's really it would have to fall substantially. The problem we're finding is the people who are coming around to look at our flat at the moment are all landlords with a lot of cash in their pocket. So I've got to struggle to get a big deposit together. I've got to go to a bank who doesn't want to lend me any money. And yet there are lots of landlords who will buy it and then rent it back to me. So I feel a bit stuffed.
William, I'm not sure if there are lots of landlords with loads of money. There are lots of landlords up to their neck in debt. lots and lots of property developers who are multi-millionaires who are on the brink of going under. That's the reality for developers across the UK.
Yeah, well, it might be, but it's not showing in the market at the moment. And the people who are coming around to look at a flat, broadly, there aren't many first-time buyers. It's quite a few investors. So there's a bit of spare money sloshing around still.
That's the score in Bristol. You think price is still too high in Bristol? Help us out this morning. Wherever you're living in the UK, what type of discount are you able to get if you're bidding on a house? 0500 909 693. If you're having to sell your house, if you're trying to sell your house, what have you had to drop the prices by? The email nolan@bbc.co.uk. We're lining up your calls. I see an 18-year-old here trying to speak to us. He's looking to rent a house within the next 10 years. Wonder if he'll be sympathetic to those of us who bought a couple of years ago. 0500 909 693. We'll come back to that in just a second. Let's get across this extraordinary trial which is continuing then. Naomi Campbell's former agent